Hello everybody. Today we are going to talk about how to blend in Autodesk Sketchbook. And we're going to learn this by creating a very simple landscape. So first off, I'm going to use this little airbrush tool to already get my paint pretty smooth. You can really use any painting tool that you would like. And now I'm going to go to the color of the sky. We're going to start out with a blue, and we're going to start out with the darkest color of the sky and move to light. So over here I can adjust the size of my brush. And I'm just going to, get a little bigger. So already you can tell that this airbrush helps to blend colors, but I'm going to show you a way that you can blend colors even more. So very nice and smooth. So now I'm going to go here, change my color to a little bit lighter. Ooh, it's already pretty smooth. Get it to a little lighter. Gonna bring it even brighter so that we're getting all the way to the bottom where we're gonna have a light section. I'm gonna turn this up even more and add those colors to it. All right, so that's just the airbrush technique. Now let's look at what we can do to change our brush out. Okay, bring this back. Now, there's a tool called the smudge tool. Now, there are a bunch of different smudge tools underneath the library. There's a whole set of them. These will blend out any colors that you have. But I'm just going to use this basic one in the traditional set. I'm going to bring up the size of the brush again. And you can see that when you go into a section, I'm wiping back and forth, left to right. When I go into the section, it is helping blend those colors in between. The thing is this, if I take it from I'm going to show you what it looks like. If I take it from the left side, from the lower corner, and I swipe up, you can really start to see what's happening there, right? It's bringing that up into the sky. And so you really want to think about what color are you trying to blend into the other, okay? That is not the way I'm trying to work. So I'm really bringing the dark color from the left to the right and just blending in between. Now, like if I went from the top to the bottom, you're going to see how that works as well. So thinking about the direction of your blend is super important. So that was applying the color with the airbrush, which I really like for that smooth kind of blending, but I want to show you what it looks like even if you were to do it without the airbrush, something that's not as smooth. So let's do something just like the tattoo inking pen. We'll make that size bigger, and we will go up from the top before with our dark blue. These are going to have a harder edge to it, not as soft as the airbrush. I'm going to go to the lighter colors. All right, so we've got those gradations of color. So the idea is you place the color onto the canvas first, then we go and we start to mess with our tool. Go to our smudge tool. I like to bring it up to that bigger size. Now we go and blend. I'm going from the dark to light, and I'm going up from the light to the dark. So you kind of just go back and forth so you get that smooth look. Now look what's happening up at the top. That is pulling the white down from outside of the canvas. So it's good to know that when you're coloring something in, it will pull out the white from around the area. That becomes more important to know when you're doing an illustration where maybe you're drawing in the color of the hair, and on the other side is maybe the color of the face. So working with different layers is going to be extremely important, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. wiping back and forth, creating a nice gradation. All right, so here is our sky. Now we're going to add some more features to our landscape. We are going to add some clouds. So like I said before, what's really important when you're doing coloring is to add new layers for your new additions to your drawing. So I'm going to add a new layer over here, and I'm going to add some clouds. So I'm going to use maybe my coarse watercolor. Get that a little bigger. I think it is a good brush for clouds. And I'm going to start out with kind of like an off-white, a little bit of a light grayish blue color. And I'm just going to start to create a little bit of a cloud shape here. It's going very circular. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bright white and add a little highlights to the top. And now I'm going to bring down maybe a little bit of a shadow here. A little bit of a darker kind of grayish blue for the bottom of the clouds. All right, so we've got the colors laid down. Remember, when you are doing some color blending, you always lay the colors down first. Now I'm going to take my little smudge tool. Let's talk about what these settings mean. So when we talk about flow, we're talking about how intensely does this color apply to the canvas when we add pressure. If the flow is low, it does not immediately make a mark. It lets you gradually build up your marks. If the flow is high, it will blend it really, really fast with even just the lightest touch. So for something like clouds where we're building up a very gradual and soft blending, you're going to want your flow to be a little bit lower. All of these options are available for any brushes inside of Autodesk Sketchbook. So think about, do you want the mark to be bold right away? Or do you want the mark to be built up over time? That is where you adjust your flow. So I'm going to bring this lower and bring my smudge brush larger. And I'm just going to start to go in a circular motion and start to blend my colors. I still think that flows a little too much. There we go. That's better. Now I would like to add some mountains, so let's get back to adding another layer for my new feature so that the colors don't blend into each other. Now I am going to go back to my inking brush to create some little mountains, and I'm going to go with a very bright green color. And I'm just going to start with my mountain on the left side. And like we did in the sky, I'm going to start to gradually bring this darker. Okay. So now that I've got those colors on there, I am going to start to use my smudge tool to blend again. Remember, moving in the direction of your line is important because it will pull colors from whichever direction you're going in. Okay, so I've got this mountain, and I can add another mountain on the other side by drawing it again. If I go that way and I start to create another drawing, I would create another layer. Another thing to remember about colors is if I want to get the same colors for another area in my drawing, you always have this little eyedropper tool, which you can go and it will choose those colors for you. So it's really good to know as you get into coloring that you can go and find those colors again in order to match another area. But I don't want to go through all that drawing again. What I'm going to do is show you that transform tool that we used prior in our other drawing, where we come over here on your layers and we can duplicate it. This gives me a whole extra layer to work with. Now if I click the little transform tool up here, I have another little mountain and I can flip it. Nope, not that way. There we go. Flip it horizontally and start to place it on the other side. Maybe I'll make this one a little bigger over here. And there we go. We've got some mountains, some sky, and some clouds. This gives you the basic understanding of how to blend. And I want to see that you can do this before we get into more complex things, like actually getting into small areas of your drawing and filling it in.